If you're a Guthrie Trapp fan, tell me if this sounds somewhat familiar. If it does and you're kind of confused about it, then this is the right video for you, because today I'm going to be breaking down Guthrie Trapp's videos in a way that at least can give you a basis to where to start and begin understanding some of the stuff that he teaches. And it all boils down to the fundamentals, and that's what we're going to be going over today. So again, we're in standard tuning. Go ahead and grab a guitar and let's get at it. My name is Keith. Welcome back to the channel. That is the basis of where we're starting out with trying to understand Guthrie Trapp. So let's go ahead and kind of show you a video or a brief video clip of him doing something similar to that, and then we'll break everything down and get the ball rolling on understanding what he's talking about.
If I go, well, that's the E major scale. Up the arpeggio, down the scale to the next chord.
What we're trying to accomplish today is learn that kind of phrasing lick that he did there in a 1-4-5 progression in the key of E, and then we're going to break it down even further with tabs, charts, diagrams. And let's just start with the tabs. I'm going to go over that whole thing a couple times with the tabs up slowly. I'm not going to call out every single note, but I'm going to go through it slowly. If you need to, you could pause it, and I'll tell you how you could find the tabs online here in a bit. One more time. So there you go. You could find the tabs online for free. I went ahead and tapped it out for you. It's on my Patreon page. All you have to do is be a free member. And if you are a paid member, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support there. If you're not a paid member and don't like the commitment of a recurring monthly charge, I don't blame you. I do have Sweetwater links in the description. It goes over all my gear. Again, clicking one of those links and making a purchase, a tiny, tiny little commission goes my way. That's always appreciated. If all else fails, like, thumbs up, whatever they call it, subscribe. That helps the channel immensely. But let's go ahead and get into the lesson and kind of break down what we just learned there and understand where exactly Guthrie Trapp is coming from. Because once we understand the basics, the kind of key concepts to the fretboard, what he likes to emphasize right here, then maybe things will start clicking with you if you're having trouble following him. So where does everything start? It starts with the chords, right? So let's learn the chords for this. And it's important to understand that we are in the key of E, and we're running through a 1-4-5 chord progression. That means the 1 chord will be an E, the 4 chord would be an A, and the 5 would be a B. So let's look at that E first. This is our E right here. 7th fret, that's an A-shaped E. How do we get that? Just imagine you have an A chord here, B, C, D, E. All right, so now that we have those chords, or that E chord, the next chord would be an A, right? Here's an A here, and here's the D shape. We're going to be running through the scale in here. It's part of that lick in this D-shaped A, but there's your A there. And then finally, B is right here. How do we get that? Yeah, here's your A, 2 frets up, B. So we have an E, one chord, A, B. Back to the E. Okay. That is the foundation. That's what he likes to call it, the foundation. Now that we're talking about foundations, let's talk about kind of where we begin here, because understanding the chords is the first step. Then I think personally the next step would be to understand the major scale, because we're using arpeggios and major scales in this phrase or series of phrases on that lick that we just did there. And again, it all starts with the major scale, and we're going to be looking right here in this E chord in this A shape. So I do have videos, I'll go ahead and link them where I can, on all the different caged shapes and how to find the major scale and your arpeggios and pentatonic scales within them. So if you're having kind of trouble following along here, more detailed links are in this video. But we don't want this video to last forever, because we want to understand what Guthrie Trapp is doing here. So let's look at this major scale for this A-shaped E chord, right? So if we look at it here, we're going to start right here in this E. The low E string's there, but if you hit the 7th fret of the A string, that's an E. And we're going to start the major scale here at 1, the root. E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then it circles back around to the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Alright, so now that we have that down, the major scale for here, we're going to go over the major scale for the other chords as well in this, but we'll start slowly here. The next step is understanding the arpeggios. So what is the arpeggio? Arpeggio for a chord is the 1, the 3, and the 5 of a chord. That makes up a major chord, right? Not a flat third. The flat third would make it a minor chord. We're going to keep things simple here. Let's get the basis going here. So we look at the major scale. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we know our 1 and a 3. 1, 3. Let's go find the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 5, 3, 1. So our arpeggio is 1, 3, 5. That makes up that E chord. Now, let's run through that first phrase of this little lick here. It goes like this. What are we doing there? Okay, so that familiar sound starts with that arpeggio. 1, 3, 5. Then we're going to skip down here on the 9th fret of the G string and walk down that major scale until we land right there. And when we land here, what are we doing? We're targeting chord tones. You're going to hear that quite a bit. We're targeting chord tones because this right here is an A. Right? These 3 are all A's right there, but we targeted this by going... That's our next chord, right? Because the next chord would be an A in this progression. Alright, so where do we go from there? We're running through an arpeggio again. That's the next step. Alright, so let's look at this D-shaped A chord, right? Let's count out the major scale. 1, that's our A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. So let's find the arpeggio, the 1, 3, and 5. 1, 2, 3. So they're 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our 5. So 1, 3, 5. That is the arpeggio for this D-shaped A chord, right? And then we're running down that major scale until we land right there. What is this right here? The 8th fret of the G string. That is the 3rd of this B chord. See how it all kind of glues together here? So let's start from the very beginning. We're going arpeggio, 1, 2, 3, walk down a major scale. Now we're in the A chord, right? Arpeggio, walk down that major scale. Now we landed right here in the third of this B chord. Why is that the third? Let's look at the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Root. Okay, there's a root. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So let's run through the major scale real quick. Starting right here with this root. 3. And that's where we landed here. Hit that B chord. And then we're going to walk down the major scale of a combination of this E, or the combination of the B and the E chord, right? Because this note right here is part of that E major scale. And we're landing right there on the root again. So we're going straight from this B, and we're hitting this B root here. Then we're walking down until we land right here on the E chord again, right? Because this is an E. All right, that was hopefully not too much. I guess the point here to understand, at least from a very beginning basis, is the three concepts. You have the chords, you have the major scale, you have the arpeggio, and it's also important to even further venture out into pentatonic scales, which a lot of people know minor pentatonic scales, but don't really know the major pentatonic scales as well. I have a video on that as well. But again, if we understand the arpeggios and the major scale, then we can delve into other concepts that he is really big on, which is sevenths, right? Major sevenths and dominant sevenths. So here is, for example, this E chord. Let's do E major seventh arpeggio, right? Because we landed on that seventh. How do we find that seventh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1, 3, 5, 7. If we flatten that seventh and land here instead, that's a flat 7. So that would be a dominant seventh. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Really important, because once you understand the major scale, you could basically build the chords and scales yourself by just understanding, hey, if I have a dominant seventh, that's a flat seventh. If I have a major seventh, we're just hitting the seventh. Same thing applies to chords, right? E major seventh, lift up that pinky to expose that dominant seventh. Right? Kind of messed up there. What does he say? No extra charge for mistakes, blah, 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 blah. But you get the point here. It's starting with the fundamentals, and once you get that, then I believe it'll be a lot easier to kind of understand where he's coming from with a lot of these concepts, because he goes so quick. It's easy for him to go quick when you're that good on the guitar. It seems like all he does is play guitar 24/7, which is probably the case, but if you do that, maybe you'll be as good as Guthrie Trapp or whoever your, kind of inspiration is. Well, anyway, I hope that helped. If it did help, please give me a like and subscribe. Consider hitting one of those Sweetwater affiliate links, or maybe even joining as a free or paid patron member. With all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, night, whatever. Talk to you later. Bye. Almost hit the camera. That would have been pretty cool.